New York Puerto Ricans, you call them Nuyoricans, because like most of us like barely even speak Spanish, but it's still the same culture, like in terms of like family and stuff like that. But
that's kind of like being Chicano. We have that word out here too for like Mexicans that like to claim the Mexican identity but are from here,
Exactly. Oh, that's exactly how it is. Perfect.
I learned a new word today. All right, well, we want to welcome to LATV Tyler Dean Flores, Puerto Rican American actor. How are you doing? Welcome to LATV.
Thank you. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So you're born and raised in New York?
Yes, I'm born and raised in Harlem, New York, uptown.
Awesome. What does uptown mean? Is it different?
Uptown is just like uptown Manhattan.
Okay.
So it's like uptown, midtown, and then downtown. So I'm all the way up there in Harlem.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. And then you currently live in New York right now?
No, I actually just moved to Los Angeles.
Oh, so, no way. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you like about New York maybe that we don't have in Los Angeles?
Oh, everything. There's no bodegas on the corner. There's you could just pull up anywhere and get a sandwich in New York. And out here, you got to like hop in your car, drive 5 miles, and get what you want to eat. And it's different. It's a completely different lifestyle.
He said everything. That's a complete shutdown. Puerto Rican American actor. Have you been to Puerto Rico?
I have. I've been a few times. I haven't been in probably about 4 years now. But I've been dying to go back.
What part of Puerto Rico have you visited?
Oh, everywhere. Whenever I go with my family, we usually just take a road trip around the island. So we usually land in San Juan and then we drive to Ponce, Rincon, come all the way back up to Isabela, and then we go to El Yunque as well. And yeah, the island is just beautiful.
I've always been curious, and I always like to take this opportunity to ask. He's just curious, what is maybe a difference about Puerto Rican, natives from the island, and then maybe New York Puerto Ricans?
I have a couple of friends, and of course family that's in Puerto Rico, and the big difference is just New York Puerto Ricans, you call them Nuyoricans, because most of us barely even speak Spanish. But it's still the same culture, in terms of family and stuff like that. But it's just different because Puerto Ricans are on an island, on the beach every single day, surfing, doing all these cool things. And in New York, you're in the street.
That's kind of like being Chicano. We have that word out here too for Mexicans that like to claim the Mexican identity but are from here,
Exactly. That's exactly how it is. Perfect.
I learned a new word today.
Yep, exactly.
Let's talk about your film, Reefa, that's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a Colombian immigrant who got murdered by the police in Miami. That's a very strong story in and of itself. Talk to us about your experience with it, what you thought about the role, and how you feel about it now.
So when I first got the role or the script itself, I really connected to Reefa because I saw myself in him a lot. And I've also grown up around a lot of kids that were just like Reefa. So it wasn't too hard to kind of get into his, shoes per se, but I guess because since Reefa was a real person, it's kind of a challenge and it's kind of scary for an actor. But I really just try to find what Reefa lived for, and come to find out we both were living for very similar things. He just wanted to express himself and uplift everyone around him, and I'm the same exact way. So I definitely really, really connected to Reefa.
So when you say you connected to his story too, maybe aspects about his identity, what are those things that you connected with him?
Just uplifting your friends. He was a philosopher too. A poet. I grew up always writing poetry, which kind of turned into music for me and rapping. That skateboarding as well. I taught myself how to skate when I was younger, and I always skate around the city. And him being an artist as well. Sometimes I just painted for fun, but he was just super talented. He was on a whole other level. And also just the family life, and like I said, just really wanting to express yourself no matter what. And that's the attitude that we both have.
That's dope. Kind of the little light, the ignition in the spirit, the connection.
Exactly.
So he was murdered by the cops. That's pretty strong too. How did you get yourself there as an actor? That's pretty hard stuff to
I didn't really think about it like that. I try not to think about like, all right, this is the moment where it comes, you know? I just really try to figure out how Reefa was feeling in that moment and how I would feel in that moment. And I just took it from there.
Oh, so kind of looking like maybe like the indicators that Reefa might have been felt triggered by, and then like just taking those in and then acting on those emotions.
Exactly, because no one knows like when their last moment is. You just don't.
That's true.
So you just kind of go on with that. Like, what would you do? Like, if today was your last day, how would you? But you kind of don't even know it's your last day. How would you go about it? And it's that simple, you know.
Good points. So getting into the shoes of, you know, a Colombian immigrant, I'm sure you had to learn a lot about his culture also. Was there anything that kind of like shook you or that you didn't know about that was kind of a learning curve?
Not really. So he was from Barranquilla, and like, of course, a lot of people talk differently. Like, there's different accents, and it's like in the United States of America, you're not going to hear someone who's from New York sound the same as someone from Texas. So it was kind of just, I guess, picking up a little bit on the dialect, and just I did some research on his culture, listened to a lot of like Colombian music as well. But he was a huge fan of reggae music. So,
are you a fan of reggae music?
I am. I grew up around a lot of like Jamaicans and, you know, Africans and stuff like that. So I love like African soul music, reggaeton, all that stuff.
Well, thank you so much. Let everybody know where we can find you and what to expect next.
So you can find me on Instagram at Tyler Dean Flores. What's next for me is I got this project called The Birthday Cake coming out soon. I don't know the exact date, but that's with Val Kilmer, Lorraine Bracco, Ewan McGregor. There's a lot of great people in that that I was super excited for.
Well, thank you so much, Tyler. And we hope to see you in Los Angeles sometime.
For sure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
All right, see you.